jumping straight into it, we got these parts here. We're gonna open them up, I'll show you what we got, and then we're gonna put them on the four-wheeler. First up, we got these lock-on handlebar grips that I got. They're the lock-on style, if you're familiar with those. So they have a little clamp here on the front, so you don't have to mess with any like glue or lubricants or whatever you need to get them on. You just slide them on and you lock them down and you're good to go. So they're pretty cool. Give you guys a closer look here. Yeah, super cool. And you can see the little locking ring right here. Just loosen that up and slide them on and you're good to go. These are really comfortable, very soft. Well, we are not going to be installing these. These are our new lug nuts to match our aluminum wheels that we have for the rear. And I actually ordered some front aluminum wheels. I got the Douglas Racing blue labels, so the really light ones. I was hoping to have them for this video, and unfortunately we don't. But soon enough we'll have those, and then we can go ahead and get these mounted on, which I'll save for last. Here's a closer look at our lug nuts we got. Really nothing exciting, but thought some of you guys might want to see the packaging. Got our Shindy carb rebuild kit here. And I'm a little embarrassed to admit, but I've never actually rebuilt a carb before. All of the other four-wheelers I've had have actually been fuel injected. So it's gonna be a learning experience for both of us. And I'll give you a closer look at this. There's your part number 2 if you need it. And this will work on the Express as well, despite it saying an Explorer. Then last up here, this is the one I was most excited about. Well, here we are. We got the Kenda Front Max, and they're 22 by 8 by 10. And these are pretty cool. My main inspiration for running these was in the late 90s, like mid to late 90s. They ran a really similar tire on the stock one of these. Whenever I was a kid, we always had them on our four-wheelers just because they came from the factory. And I always thought they looked super cool for some reason on a two-wheel drive machine. And these looked very similar, and I couldn't help myself, so I went ahead and picked up a pair. I mean, they might not be the best performing tires. I don't know much about the realm of sport ATV tires, to be truthful, but sometimes looks are worth it. And plus, they're only like 11 pounds each, so you can't really go wrong with that. But here they are, a little lopsided from shipping, but yeah, look pretty cool. But on the topic of tires, so as you've seen already, I did pick up those paddle tires, or like sand tires, whatever you call them. And this is not going to be like a dune like specific build. Most of the riding I do isn't actually on the sand, so I am going to be picking up a second set of rear tires and wheels. That way I can run a dirt set as well. And then right now I'm leaning towards the Kenda Claw XC, I believe is what it's called. Main reason is it's only 12 pounds per tire, which I think is super cool. But that's currently my plan. But let's get into the video. First order of business, I want to go ahead and throw these grips on just because I've been eagerly awaiting them so that we can adjust the actual distance of our controls. Alright, well, they're grips, so it's simple enough. Just slide these on so they bottom out, and then you just tighten these up. And it looks like I had my controls way further in than they needed to be. Yeah, it's pretty close on the throttle. Alright, just gotta loosen these two Phillips and we can scoot this thing over. There we go. Placement feels good on that. I'm gonna come around from the back on this one since the brake lever was blocking your view from the front. I've got to do it. Got to put the seat on, feel how the controls are. That is very comfortable. I'm a much bigger fan of the lower bars. The old ones were about up here, which even at my height is pretty uncomfortable. I'm a tall guy. Now that we have the grips on, we can go ahead and pull this carb off, clean it up, rebuild it, and throw in our new jets to match our pipe, and then we can throw it back on. So your fuel line is actually on this side right here. And yours probably won't be clamped on like this, but just go ahead and remove your fuel line, obviously. Ooh. So got that out of the way. Now we gotta get these cables removed. Start the choke cable first. That's easy enough. Alright. Got that out of the way. And then, so if I understand correctly, I take this cap off first. Pull our slide out here, and our needle. I'm gonna set this aside. So now I gotta get this out of here. Okay, so I figured it out after struggling with the throttle cable. You gotta push the retainer plate in here up, and then you can just slide your throttle out of the little hole in there. It's very simple, but I was kind of struggling with it. Let's go ahead, get our cap off here, and then we can take the actual carb itself over to the bench and we'll clean it up. The cap itself is actually just an 8mm. I think it just screws off like this. There we go. Well, there we have it. We got our carb off. Now let's take it over to the bench and get it disassembled so we can clean it up. All right, so first up, let's get this bowl off. There we go. Floats are moving freely, which is a good sign. Pull this old gasket off of here. I'm going to go ahead and take the slide and the needle out. So got our needle here, then our slide and the retainer plate. And be careful not to lose this tiny plastic washer. Take this here out. So just slide this out here. You can lift this up. There you go. Now I just got the 6mm right here. This looks like we're running a 200 main stock. Or I think it was stock. We got a little flat head down here. These are all your jets, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. There's a bent screwdriver. There we go. And that is quite gummed up. So that definitely needed to be cleaned up. Well, that's really all there is to it. I'm gonna throw the bowl back on and actually wash this thing down with soap and water. And after that, we'll do the actual cleaning or replacement of all the jets and everything. But for now, let's throw it back together. All right, I'm gonna go clean this off camera real fast, and then I'll be right back and we'll rebuild this thing. All right, so took this thing aside. I just hosed it down with brake clean, and I blew out all the little ports and everything. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take this bottom cover back off, or the bowl, I should say, and clean up the area the floats are in. All right, so basically what I'm gonna do is step aside, blow all this out with brake clean, especially the passageways, and then I'll come back. When you got this blown out, the floats are moving freely, blew out all the passageways. Now I'm gonna begin taking out all these old components and then putting in the new parts from our carb rebuild kit. So going back in. And so now we got all of our jets here that came with our pipe kit. And I'm gonna start off with the 280 main, just for safety reasons, so I don't blow up my top end. And we'll go ahead and drop this in. This is at 35, the stock one was at 30, so it's a little interesting. We'll go ahead and set this back in place. And it's kind of shadowy, if it'll focus. Everything's moving good over there. That's really it for everything in the bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead and place our gasket. Not the old one like I was about to grab. Make sure it's seated in there good. Then we can go ahead and put our bowl back on. There we go, so we got our bowl finished up. We're gonna go ahead and take out our idle screw, because we get a new one with this kit. So set that aside. Just want to double check and make sure they're the same length. So next we're gonna go ahead, take this out right here. Go ahead, throw that in there. So next I gotta find out where we're gonna set our needle at. And after that, we can just throw this thing back together and then we'll go ahead and put it on the quad. I did some reading, and our needle, we should probably, so on the needle, the further down you go, the richer it is, I guess, which I didn't know. So now you know too. And it says you're supposed to, Rick Ritter, who's like the expert on these things, says you should go second from the bottom and then go to the middle after. And you know, I'm just gonna start in the middle. So clip is on here, and then our little washer goes underneath. Set that aside for now because I'm kind of an idiot and I need to make sure my float is adjusted properly. I'm also gonna go ahead and throw this new O-ring for this on there. Alright, this O-ring is too large, so we'll be keeping our stock one, I guess. According to the forums, we want to be perfectly level with our float arms, and it looks like we're right there, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on. So we're all set here. I suppose now we can go ahead and throw this thing back on. Well, I have a feeling that getting this throttle cable back on here is going to be a little difficult, but I suppose we will see here shortly. And so my approach to getting this on, because I kind of struggled getting it off, being that's my first time, is this has this little tab right here that centers it, the actual retainer plate. So I'm going to put it in there sideways, then I'll just scoot it over with a pick while I'm getting my throttle cable set in there. So there we go, we got our throttle cable slid in this little slot, if you can see, which I hope you can. And then now we just need to slide over this retainer plate to lock the tab in, which I can't exactly show just given the nature of the location. But trust me, I'm locking it in. All right, there we go. Got everything locked in place. Now we can go ahead and start throwing our card back on. So now we're just gonna slide this back in there. I can only go in one way. Just wanna make sure our needle goes in all right. There we go. Tighten that back up. Also tighten our throttle cable here, which is already pretty tight, so I think we're good there. And then we can go ahead and throw our choke cable back in. Tighten that up. I believe it's just a 1/2 inch. There we go. Snug that up. Just want to double check our throttle cable one more time. And we're good to go. It's a rebuilt card right there, my first one. I guess we can actually go ahead and mount this up now. The only reason I haven't thus far is just because I've been waiting to rebuild it. So just slide this thing into our boot here. Well, that was extremely difficult to get in there. So I'll go ahead and tighten up this clamp and we'll be good to go on our carb. So we got it secured in place, our carb is good to go. Means pretty soon here we can go ahead and put our airbox on. Alright, we got a short little bonus project for you in this video. You might have seen, I can't remember at this point, that on our first startup, our fuel petcock was leaking. So, gonna go ahead and get this taken off. Get that out of the way here. Go ahead and throw this on. There we go. Finished up. Well, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Getting the handlebars finalized and the carburetor rebuilt has been on my list of things to do for a long time. Starting here soon, I should be able to pick up the longer videos again, just because I'll have some more free time. But if you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it, and thanks for watching.